What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fanatically Speaking. I'm Kent.
I'm Log Off. I'm the Log Off legend. And we're here to say everything that every fan is thinking, but louder and probably a little crazier. Get ready. This is Fanatically Speaking with Kent and Log Off. You know what's funny? Like, I'm not a social media hater. I'm a social media hater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that I get on the internet and start hating people on social media. That's not what I do.
The first half was absolutely horrible. You know, just inept offense, inept defense, special teams, you name it.
I'm going to turn into Oprah. Why were you so angry?
He sucks this season. This game, whatever's going on, right? And the very next pitch, guess what they do? They double homer, and he's like, "Told you, Dad. Why are you always knocking down people?"
You got the highs and the lows.
Yeah, so I do that.
You need the highs and the lows, and
so I do that. Yeah, but
I'm trying to be the voice of reason here.
I am what I am. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fanatically Speaking. I am Kent, the co-host and promoter.
I'm Log Off, the Log Off legend, hater of social media. I am the co-host and producer of the show.
All righty. Well, we got another NFL episode. NFL heavy. It's that time of year. It's the playoffs. We got firings, well, really just firings. In the coaching world, we already did an episode on, coaches and the teams that are looking for new head coaches and things like that. And there's already been, more to come out since then. So before we get to our divisional picks for the weekend, for the playoffs, we're gonna just let's get on that, the update on the coaching cycle to kind of catch us up, from our previous episode.
Yeah, the rundown, go over what matchups are there. There were some surprises. I think there were a lot of teams that surprised some people this past weekend. And, certainly one huge surprise for me, something that I didn't see coming. But where do you want to start? Where do you want to lead off?
I want to with games.
Yeah. Which matchup do you want to go to first?
Let's just go in the order. We'll go in order of the games. They posted, obviously, late last night by the end of the Texans-Steelers game. So the first game on the weekend, we've got the Buffalo Bills, 6th seed, going to the number one seeded Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this matchup to me is I think this Broncos team might be the most doubted one seed in recent history. Like it's I'm trying to think, especially in the AFC, like a number one seed, like a locked number one seed with a bye that people are kind of looking at like, I don't really know about them. It's a difficult kind of a matchup to look at. We got to see the Bills play over the weekend. They beat the Jags. Close game, tough game. Josh Allen's experience came through, even though he didn't play a perfect game, got a little dinged up. But going into, Mile High Stadium, I still think that there's a lot of people who are going to like the Bills' chances at upsetting them. And, I just on paper for me, if I had to pick a team right now, I got to go with the Bills. Just because I trust them more. I have no idea, what's going to happen with the Broncos. I don't see it. I got to see it. Unfortunately, I got to see it first.
Yeah, again, they've got the Sean Payton Super Bowl winning head coach. They got the young quarterback, Bo Nix. They got a really good defense. They get after the quarterback. They were in the playoffs before, and they actually, I believe it was last year, they made the playoffs and lost to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. So oddly, here they are again, faced up against each other in the divisional round. The big stat that I pulled up for the Broncos this year, because again, young quarterback, they got Cortland Sutton at receiver, and then they got just different guys, but you may not know them, right? Young team. We talked about before how they overcame the Russell Wilson contract and they still produced a winner, not only a winner, but the number one seed in the AFC. So they had a record this year, NFL record. They won 11 of their 14 games by one score.
Okay. That's a hell of a stat. I like that stat.
Which is pretty impressive. So that tells me that they can win close games. Obviously, that's regular season, but still close games, still getting the wins, earning that one seed. But like you said, the Buffalo Bills, and I keep going back to this, I think unless they lose, until they lose, however it works out for the Buffalo Bills, I can't pick against them. It's something about that it's Josh Allen's year to me. And that goes back to that no Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow. This is his path. It may be a tough path on the road. Now it's even tougher. He's going against the one seed in Denver against a great defense. But, he went in Jacksonville against a team who a lot of people were picking because they were good on offense and defense. But as I told you last time, Buffalo's got some guys, man. They got some guys. They may not be the sexiest names. They might not be the top of the top names and players, but they've got guys. And they're battle tested. They're playoff tested. And sometimes it's like, if it's not this year, then when would it be? So with all that said, I am picking the Buffalo Bills. I'm picking the reigning MVP, Josh Allen, to overcome adversity with his injuries. He's banged up. He finally made a comeback win on the road for Buffalo, winning in the playoffs on the road. That's an impressive win, no matter if it is Jacksonville and that was the up-and-coming team that shocked everybody. But I think a lot of people are shocked that the Denver Broncos are also 14-3 in the one seed. So not a lot of difference. Going to be a little tougher. Obviously, everything that goes along in playing in Denver. So, but Buffalo, man, they don't care about the weather. They don't really care about who's in front on the other side. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
No, I get it. And the elevation there matters. That air is thinner. It's different. I've been there. It did change his breathing. These are NFL players. They're conditioned for it. And teams have gone into to Denver and won those games. So I don't want to read too much into that. The only thing I'm going to I'll dance around this a little bit when you said that about, the Bills and Josh Allen and Mahomes being out and Lamar Jackson being out and Joe Burrow being out, all in the AFC. I do agree that they match up well with the Broncos, offense, defense, special teams, coaching. I think they match up well. Like, I'll give you that. Even when we talk about Sean Payton, Super Bowl winning head coach and all of that. He won that Super Bowl a long time ago. So this is
a really long time. Damn near 20 years.
Yeah. This is a new NFL. And, if he loses, nobody's going to go, Sean Payton can't lose that game to Josh Allen. So the one thing I will say is that I like the Bills in this game too. But I think this has to do with the matchup with the Broncos. When we get to the other AFC game, the one thing I will say is I can't say the same thing about those other teams. Those other teams are better football teams. But for this team, but for this Broncos team with that roster, with that starting quarterback going into this, yeah, man, I like the Bills' chances.
Yeah, I agree. For this game, at the moment, like I said, for the moment, just like last week, I'm going to pick the Bills until, unless otherwise stated. Yeah, the next game up on Saturday, we'll go to the NFC, and we have a divisional rival. Going to have the San Francisco 49ers, also a 6 seed, going to also the 1 seed in the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and so the thing I like about the just kind of the way they laid the schedule out was they gave you a chance to see the teams going up against the 1 seeds that didn't play last week. So we saw what the 49ers did, went out and got a win in Philly. Say whatever you want. They earned that win, with Kittle going down in devastating fashion, terrible to see. Depleted offense, depleted defense, and they were able to piece together a playoff win on the road. That's massive. Now they got to play a division opponent in Seattle. And, we've talked about, a lot of the same things all year with our concerns with the Seahawks. And it's Sam Darnold turning the damn ball over. He turns the ball over, and he turns it over well. It's not like you're counting the minutes. It's like, okay, 3, 2, there you go, Sam Darnold's interception. I don't know if, the 49ers defense is going to be able to feast on that and turn those turnovers into points, because that Seahawks defense is for real. It's legit. And the difficult thing, and I repeat this a lot, I say it all the time, no team knows you better than your division rival, period. And right now in the playoffs, we've got 3 teams from one division, still currently alive in the playoffs. So I don't want to give, San Francisco no chance. I think they've got a puncher's chance, because you still got Brock Purdy, who has been consistent, and you still got McCaffrey, who is a star. We all saw that. And he's got the ability to break out huge plays and keep that team afloat like he has all year. But I do think that the home crowd, maybe a little bit of home cooking and just kind of the environment of having a tough road game last week and then having to go to Seattle to play a division rival. I just think it's just all set up for the Seahawks to get this win. And I got to say, I think it'll be pretty easy. I think it'll be an easy-ass win for them.
Yes, I agree. As much as it was going to really, depending on who the Seahawks played this week, was really going to, sway me who I picked. Because it's the 49ers, because they are depleted, the only thing that can hold the Seahawks back is, as you mentioned, is Sam Darnold. But I will also say, even in games where he's had turnovers, which he has a lot, that defense keeps that team in games. That defense wins games. And that's the only reason, right? The offense is good. They got weapons. They got a great running game. Darnold plays pretty decent, obviously, to get him to a 1 seed. His turnovers have not held them back from that. I know I talk a lot about when you get to the playoffs, you turn the ball over, you normally end up losing. But the 49ers, who against the Eagles, they had more turnovers and they still won. So the good thing for the Seattle Seahawks is they don't have Kevin Patullo calling their offense. So they're in good hands against San Francisco. The Seahawks will have someone with a brain and an offensive mind to go against the practice squad and backups of the San Francisco 49er defense. So that's just what it is. It is what it is, right? You're right. They did earn that game. They did earn that win. They outcoached the Philadelphia Eagles. They out-schemed the Philadelphia Eagles to make it to this point. The last time the Seahawks and 49ers played, they were playing for the 1 seed in San Francisco, and the Seahawks held the 49ers to 3 points. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen again, but again, this game is in Seattle. Obviously, we talked about being depleted. It should be a little bit of a battle because they're rivals, 49ers. They're feeling themselves a little bit, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in how many years? About 30. So, but yeah, this is Seattle. This game against this team, I will pick the Seattle Seahawks, and even with Sam Darnold as their quarterback.
Yeah, and I'll end on this because I think the thing that gets overlooked, because I brought it up myself, so I'm guilty of this. I brought up Sam Darnold's interceptions, his turnovers, and I brought up how great that defense is. the benefit of that is even in spite of all of his turnovers, that defense is so amazing that they can still continue to throw the ball. Like that offense put up 44 touchdowns between passing and rushing touchdowns combined. So they still have the opportunity to take chances. And even if they're down and even if they turn the ball over, that defense is good enough to hold a depleted offense. And I mean, we can sit here and talk about Brock Purdy all day. He's been consistent for the last 5-6 years. Like, that dude can play football. Like, he's a good player.
Yeah.
But he ain't no world beater.
Yes.
So they'll say, listen, if you're gonna beat us, Brock Purdy, damn it, you do it. You come out here and you show us and you make these plays with all of these backups that you throw into. But Sam Darnold, it's a regular day at the office for him. If he throws 3 picks, he's gonna be unfazed. He can still continue to throw the ball. They can still continue to run. They still got a really good rushing offense. And I think that's just it's gonna be more than what San Francisco can handle, and they'll outscore them and win. I got them winning by double digits. Like, I can see this being a 30-20 game. I can see this being a 33-17 game easily.
Yeah, it could get out of hand. And like you said, we agree on that about everything about the defense. You know, a perfect example was against the Panthers. The game was pretty close a few weeks back in Carolina. Darnold throws an interception in the end zone, killing a drive, killing a scoring opportunity. And the very next play, the Seahawks defense forced a fumble on Chuba Hubbard, and they're set up on like the 10-yard line. And what do you know? Then they score a touchdown. So that defense, you know, off of a turnover, they can get the ball right back and in great field position. So, yeah. And Brock Purdy, you mentioned, again, he is a solid quarterback. He has earned everything. He's a gritty player. No one thought he would be, you know, what is he, like last pick, Mr. Irrelevant, something like that,
yeah.
Right? He's way back, and yeah, like he's done this, and again, great a great all-around guy, and he plays great in that offense. But like any great quarterback, if you're under pressure, you will make mistakes. And I promise you, Seattle, again, to take another shot at Philly's coaching, I bet you Seattle rushes and blitzes the quarterback way more than the Eagles did, because you saw what happened when Purdy gets under pressure. What did he do? He threw picks, made bad decisions. His feet are dancing, uncomfortable. Seattle will make him uncomfortable. They'll make him, kind of look like Sam Darnold, but they will win. And so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on
man.
that.
Good stuff. Yeah. All right, we're going to go to Sunday, the next game, back to the AFC. We're going to have the 5-seeded Houston Texans against the 2-seed New England Patriots.
Yeah, and I will say this past weekend, that was probably the most fun I had watching an ass kicking. Just watching.
Which one?
I mean,
Which one?
Watching the Texans blow the doors off the Steelers, and you know, Oof. And they, I think Aaron Rodgers is the type of quarterback who's deserving of a humbling, and that was a humbling ass experience that he had. They were on his ass all day. Toward the end of the game, when things started getting tight, they understood that the Steelers had to be in a position to throw the ball, and they were like, yep, we just go sit here and wait for our opportunities. And they went out there and destroyed them. It was a collaborative effort. So it was a really good mix of offense and defense to be able to get that win. Obviously, the defense came through at the end to kind of close the things out. And watching the Patriots have, you know, a tough, hard win over the weekend. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. You know, you hold the Chargers to 3 points, but you only score 16 yourself. And, you know, to be a 2 seed and, you know, and keep in mind, like they're hosting that game. Like, that's at home. Like, you can only put up, you know, 16 points on the team that you're dominating at home. You know, they didn't take a lot of chances. It just felt like they played it safe. And looking at this matchup, I just in terms of momentum and watching a team that's inspired, I think I gotta go with Houston on this, man. I I know they've got a young quarterback, and we don't see Houston in these positions quite often. But I got Houston winning this game comfortably to where they can go up and just keep a lead. Maybe it's by scoring a touchdown, only in one half, or maybe kicking a couple of field goals just to keep it, at around, close to 10 points. But I feel like it'll be a nice, comfortable win. The Patriots were just too unimpressive for me to feel confident picking them to win this game. So yeah, I gotta go with the Texans.
Okay. So we didn't get to see the Broncos and Seahawks, who both have good defenses, right? Because the Broncos, at one point, I think they still lead the league in sacks. Obviously, Seattle, we just talked about their great defense. This game had the two defenses that played the best last weekend, and now they're going up against each other. We talk about Seattle having to overcome Sam Darnold. Houston had to overcome C.J. Stroud not playing a great game, right?
Correct.
Turning the ball over. The Chargers' defense has been solid all year, and they played great against New England. New England overcame. We saw they got to Drake May some, but then Drake May made the plays here and there that mattered, got them to the 16. But these two defenses, when you talk about holding the Patriots to 3, holding the Patriots, holding the Chargers to 3, the Texans holding the Steelers to 6. So these two games, these two defenses gave up 9 points last weekend in the playoffs, and now they're against each other. And again, if you watch those games, like you said, I thought Justin Herbert was dead. He got absolutely destroyed on one of those last hits.
Yeah.
Like, he got destroyed. The Patriots were balling on defense. They were coming after him, and again, doing what Justin Herbert does. 6 years in the league, no playoff wins. And I'm not going to take credit for this. I always call Herbert, overrated. Emmanuel Acho said he's overpraised, and I like that. And it's true. Every year we hear about Justin Herbert. He's so great. He's so good. He's a top 5 quarterback. Well, win a playoff game and then come talk to me. The Texans, I think, retired Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, He was getting destroyed. Yeah. Like, you see him get hit, his helmet's almost off, and the fumble, and then they return it. Then the pick 6 might be his last pass of his career. Because at this point, any team in the league watch that. You better have a damn good offensive line if he's going to keep playing, because he's not moving around too well, and he's taking forever to throw the ball. So unless he was getting that ball out quick, but when he did, the Texans was just attacking and tackling. So this is a really tough pick, but I know who I'm picking, because there's been a team in mind. But I think it's a defensive battle. I think it will be closer than you think. But I will go with the Houston Texans. That defense looked so hungry, and like you said, with the momentum of getting 2 defensive touchdowns and doing that in Pittsburgh, like, that's great. The Patriots won at home. They beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Solid win. But retiring a great like Aaron Rodgers, most likely retiring him, and beating the Steelers in that stadium on primetime Monday night. That was it. And this Texans defense is for real. I think C.J. Stroud will bounce back. The only thing that concerns me is Nico Collins got a concussion, so if he's going to be there or not. So they're going to have to use Christian Kirk and some other guys a little more and get a little creative on offense. But I think that defense is going to be good enough to win the game. So yeah, I'm going Houston Texans.
Got you. And the only thing that I'll say. And it's a great point that you brought up about just how stout their defenses are. If you look at the stats for Drake May and C.J. Stroud side by side from last week, they're almost identical. Like it's stunning, like almost
Yeah.
identical. Drake
Yeah.
May threw for 268 yards. Stroud threw for 250. They were both around high teens in terms of completions with 20s in attempts. Like, I think CJ Stroud was like 65%. Drake May was like 58%. They both threw an interception, both threw a touchdown. Like, so if I got to take a quarterback that I think can overcome having a bad game, I'm going to take Stroud. And he's far more athletic.
Yeah.
And he has the opportunity to he's more versatile within that offense to make big plays. So on an offensive edge, in terms of quarterback, I got to give it to Stroud. And have a defense that you're, I don't want to say comfortable with, because that implies that you kind of let off the gas a little bit. But a defense that you know has the ability to go score you points like that, like the way they did that, I think that lets you know that, hey, if there's a big fumble, if there's a strip sack, if there's a pick, that defense can advance that ball upfield and give you a chance to score some easy ass points, and that offense can take a load off. So yeah, I gotta go with the Texans, and it'll end the kind of the storybook season for the Patriots. They still would have had a good year. But yeah, I think it ends for them it ends on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think the stat I heard, a couple stats, I'm going to get into the turnovers. I think the Chargers had like 1 yard passing after like somewhere in the second quarter. After that, it was like 1 yard passing. So they absolutely shut Herbert and the Chargers down. And then Drake May had a pick and a fumble.
And like you said, both of them sacked a lot.
2 lost fumbles.
Drake May got sacked 5 times.
5 turnovers by the
CJ Stroud,
quarterback.
I think he got sacked
combined.
3 times. Had a lot of hurries. Throwing the ball away a lot. Like it. Yeah, I mean, it was tough, hard fought games. But looking at the outcome between one game and the other,
they are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. I mean, the defense scored.
I know. It's
2 touchdowns.
Crazy.
So, like I said, we're agreement Texans.
Not too bad.
We are agreeing on everything this week. We went 4-2 last week, so not too bad. No. All right, the last one. Back to the NFC. The 5-seeded Rams against the 2-seeded Bears. Another 5-2 matchup. Wow.
Okay.
Everything's matching up.
I am.
I'm
salty
salty. Los Angeles Rams against Chicago Bears. What do you got?
I'm salty about the Rams win against the Panthers. I am not a Panthers fan. I've never been a Panthers fan. I just live in this area, and I've always said that the last Super Bowl run that the Panthers had, where they played the Broncos, I loved living in a city that had a chance to experience it. I did not think that was going to be, what took place this season with the Panthers, but I did pick the Panthers to beat the Rams, and we all saw how close that game was. If you want to call it a moral victory, you can say whatever you want, but they were competitive in that game.
Yeah.
And if you were a LA Rams fan, your butt was tight as that game got close, because the Panthers absolutely had a shot to go down and win that game at the end, but it didn't happen. Then you take a look at who the Bears played in the Packers. A competitive game, much like Panthers and Rams. But to be able to see a quarterback as durable, I mean, and honestly, I mean, let's be honest. I heard somebody say this, and I had to think about it. Is it possible that even right now already, that Caleb Williams is the best Bears quarterback ever? Is that possible? Could you name a definitive better quarterback for the Chicago Bears?
Dude.
I mean, name one better. I mean, if you want, I think the only other person in the conversation is Cutler,
which he probably
and
is.
we watched him deflate.
So
year
you're
after
right.
year.
He probably is. I was just
There you go. We all did. I saw him on
Yeah,
that exercise bike.
yeah. Well, I watched him, give up in an NFC Championship
Yeah.
game, and wouldn't even fight. Yeah, yeah. He left the game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl and go smoke him a cig. But yeah, Caleb Williams. I think already, I was so impressed with how good he is in his second year. And I hate to compare him to a Patrick Mahomes, but I'm like, this dude is already that good. And will he
I think
get
it
to
was
that
4th and
level?
8.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But he's already like really good. I mean, he saved their season with that 4th down, cross his body throw. Yeah, but still, yeah, like cross body in the air. They've been saying the Jordan Jumpman logo and put it right in there. Save their season, because if they don't get that, they lose that game.
No, I'm good. So I'm going to ask you this. If Caleb Williams is the starting quarterback this past weekend for the Carolina Panthers, do they win that game versus the Rams?
Yes.
Okay, then for me, this is a no-brainer. The Bears win this game easily. Because I think this Bears team has they've got the talent. They clearly have a talented quarterback. We saw what that matchup was this past week for the Rams and the struggles that they had. And the one thing that I will say is very, very cool to see, and I like seeing struggling sports cities kind of have their moment. And it was great to see the city of Chicago really embrace that team. They love football in that city, and they haven't had a lot to cheer for. But to see people, crying in the stands after that amazing game and the great plays that Caleb Williams was making, he had a great post game interview on the field, and I actually I think I want to say it was Shannon Sharp. I think it was Shannon Sharp said that. Or actually, no, I think it was another podcast where they were like, he sounded like somebody who was going to try to run for political office after, just with the how posed and composed and even keeled he was after a win like that. People talking about his nails being painted and how he's an emotional player and all that. Like, he showed that he has the ability to go out there and win a playoff game against a division rival. I think it's the Bears with a bullet. I'm not picking against them. I won't do it.
Okay. So both of these teams were in games that were obviously close. It came down to whoever had it the last drive, things like that. A couple things on the Bears. They came back. They were down 21-3 at half. Came back, outscored the Packers 28-6 the next second half. Packers, of course, gave up. They left 7 points on the board, missing 2 field goals and an extra point. Blowing a lead like that is just brutal. But as I mentioned, Caleb Williams made the play. The Bears have kind of been like this, that comeback that you can't keep them down, kind of all season. The Rams, as you said, the Panthers gave them a way better game than I expected. Kudos to the Panthers. They just decided on their last defensive possession to play the softest coverage in the history of the world. Matthew Stafford with a bum finger was just the easiest pass.
Moving the ball down the field. Yeah.
Well, again, the corners are, 15, 20 yards off. They're just playing so soft. Stafford could have thrown left-handed and still completed them. The only incompletion he had was a Devontae Adams drop. And then the throw to Parkinson and a great throw, catch, touchdown to take the lead was the only really tough play they had. And then the Panthers get the ball back with like 38 seconds with 3 timeouts and only needing a field goal to tie the game. I'm going to take another shot. It was like Kevin Patullo was calling their plays. It was long plays downfield, and at least they were actually moving. It wasn't just 4 verticals. It was long, drawn-out plays to develop, and Bryce Young was trying to throw downfield when the middle of the field was wide open. So I don't know why the Panthers weren't just trying to do the same thing the Rams had just done, where you just get some yardage, get another playoff, then try to get in field goal range. Use your 3 timeouts. The Panthers left that game with all 3 timeouts and didn't move the ball at all on that last drive. They had 4 downs, and they didn't move the ball once, not a single yard. So with that being said, I've been a kind of on the Rams the whole time, even in bad games. Even though their defense is not elite, it's middle of the road. Their offense is pretty good. They got the MVP, I believe, in Matthew Stafford, one of the top receivers, if not this year, Puka Nacua, even though he dropped a touchdown in that game against the Panthers. Got Devontae Adams. They got a lot of tight ends. This game, I believe, will be high scoring because the Bears give up a lot of points too. They've been, damn near 40 to the 49ers and all this stuff, and against other teams. I think it'll be a shootout. It will depend on who's got the ball last. I have to keep going with the Rams because I have to, that's just kind of my gut and kind of how I've been rolling. I thought as a fan of the Eagles that the Rams would be in Seattle this weekend, and I would have picked the Rams to beat Seattle. So I have to pick them to beat the Bears. I will go with the Los Angeles Rams in a shootout.
Okay. Yeah, and I can't. It's not a bad pick. I'm confident in my Bears pick, and to me, I'm not trying to change your mind at all. But like you mentioned, Stafford is banged up, and the Bears get to play inspired football after coming off that win at home. I just think that gives them the edge. The Rams have been everyone's, I guess, the most confident lock that you can have all season, because even in their losses, they'd been competitive.
Yeah,
and that, and I agree with you. I think they have the ability to beat anybody, but all the Bears got to do is win one game, and I'm just comfortable. I can just see them doing it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears won. Like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to pick. I'm just not going to pick against the Rams. Like I said, I've kind of been rolling with them when people ask me, and I didn't want to say the Eagles because of that offense. So I would always say if I had to pick a team that is somewhat balanced, and again, I really look at quarterback, I have to go with the Rams. So I'm going to keep rolling that way. So we'll see, man. We got 4 games. We'll see how we turn out and see if we do any better than we did last weekend.
Yeah, let's see.
All right. So as we said, we're going to do a little coaching update. We're going to stay in the NFL. A lot of coaching changes happening. It's like hardly can keep up. Like we said, we did an episode, and then by the time we put it out, there was another opening. And then as of today, there's another opening, and it's a huge one, as well as a coordinating opening that I know I'm happy about. So let's get into you just start with the big one, or how we want to do this?
Let's start small.
Okay, we'll start small. I'm not gonna take a long time. My birthday is today. I got the best birthday gift ever. Got to send Nick Sirianni something. He did what he probably should have done 3 months ago, and he fired Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, who apparently, I believe he was calling plays off of a Madden video game playbook.
Come on.
I would also like to say that, the Eagles, they won back in Super Bowl 52 back in 2017, and we all know what helped them win that game was the Philly special. This year's team, the play is, of course, 4 verticals. So that's what I got from this year. 4 verticals is this year's team's Philly special. The only thing is it got them knocked out in the wild card round against a practice squatted 49ers. So I'm really happy about Patullo going. It's kind of weird being happy about somebody losing their job, but it's the NFL, it's football. He'll get another job doing something. But that will, now we have to look at really quick, the Eagles, just briefly on this coaching. We've seen this before, right? Sirianni, the first year, not really worried about it, the 1 year in the playoffs. But obviously they went to the Super Bowl the first time. He had Shane Steichen. And of course, they barely lost that Super Bowl, but obviously a great offense, put up 35 points, just couldn't get that ball back, in that game. Hurts balled out, the whole team balled out all season. Then Steichen goes on to the Colts. Then they promote, again, keyword, promoted Brian Johnson the next season, and that was, of course, the down season. They finished 11-6. They get smashed in the playoffs in the first, again, the wild card round against the Buccaneers. Then the next year, they obviously fire Johnson. They go outside the staff again, and they get Kellen Moore. What do? Great offense, big numbers. They go to the Super Bowl. Not only go, they win the Super Bowl. Hurts again, balls out. The whole team is balling out. Saquon has a magical year, 2,000 yards, rushing. And then, of course, unfortunately, Kellen Moore gets the job in the Saints. And what does Sirianni do? He promotes from within. His boy, Kevin Patullo. All season, the offense was like this. And it showed again in a playoff game, right? A great half of football. I thought the first half of that game, and I'm not going to break down the game, I'm just saying the first half of that game against the 49ers, they were doing different things. And then the second half, he went back to the same old stuff. And, of course, obviously the final drive, the 4 verticals, no chance for success. But Sirianni has to get this right. And I don't care that he won a Super Bowl. I don't care that he's gone to 2 Super Bowls. I don't care about his winning record. And I don't want to make this about Sirianni, but I got thoughts about him. But he's got to get this right. So, again, he's going to have to, obviously, he's going to go outside the building and hire someone, and a real quick name that come to mind, someone who coached Jalen Hurts as his coordinator in college at Alabama. I really would like the Eagles to get Brian Daboll. I don't think Daboll will get a head coaching job this cycle, so I really, really, really hope that's the guy.
I don't really have any thoughts on who I think they should get as an OC. I think it's just a little too soon. I think there's going to be a lot of developments that take place throughout the rest of the playoffs. That like anything can happen. So I don't want to rush to judgment on that. You've been critical of Patullo all year.
True.
For good reason, for good measure, and I mean the fact that they let him go in this manner was very. I think it was obvious. I don't even know if you saw what happened when Jalen Hurts was asked about it after the game, and he's like, now's not the time for me to kind of, make any comments on it. And then here it is, a couple days later, he's let go. So I don't think anyone's going to be shedding any tears for him. He had his opportunities to kind of turn things around, and he didn't. The offense had been bad from the beginning of the year to the end, and he had chances to improve and just didn't do it. So he'll be fine. I'm not gonna feel bad for him. He will get other opportunities, but I don't want to rush to say who is gonna who I would rather see in that position. I kind of want to just kind of let the rest of the season play out, see how the roster develops, see what changes, and then go from there.
Okay, that's fair. It just, again, Daboll just came to mind. Well, it came to mind earlier when obviously he got fired, but if you're just thinking ahead, I was like, maybe. But another team that after our recording let go of their head coach, and it was a guy we actually praised and thought maybe he was going to get another chance, but they changed GMs. So that obviously, normally when that happens, they're going to go get their own coach. And the Miami Dolphins let go of Mike McDaniel, another guy, if he don't get a coaching job, maybe an OC. Another name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Miami just, again, I think it mainly came down to that. New general manager, probably going to go get his own guy. They got they're probably going to change quarterbacks. So it's kind of a package deal. Let's see what else we can do in Miami. McDaniel had flashes, and it's very similar to Raheem Morrison in Atlanta. It dug a deep hole, made a late run, just not enough at the end of the day to keep his job.
Yeah. I told you I had Mike McDaniel as my coach of the year.
You did. He
was my coach of the year for him being able to keep his job all season, as bad as the
Yeah.
Dolphins were.
Yeah.
He's another one, man. He'll be fine. We all were expecting him. We were expecting him to get fired.
Yeah.
Months ago. Forget weeks ago. Months ago. We were trying to fire him in the middle of the season. There's so many candidates out there. There's a lot of shakeups that are taking place in all of football. And I know, this is an NFL heavy show, but even in college football, there's a lot of opportunities for a lot of college coaches to get some chances in the NFL ranks.
Mm-hmm. If they want it.
There's a lot of things up in the air. I ain't Adam Schefter.
Nah.
I'm not Diana Rossini. I don't know who is going to do what, who's looking for what. And these owners have kind of showed, an impatience in some organizations and a lot of, comfort and stability in others, and I'll use an example for Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, where even after that loss, they're looking at signing that dude to an extension because they like the things that he's done with that team.
Yeah.
I have no opinion on that one way or another, but, if there are a lot of other coaches in that same situation to where they would have let his ass go as long as he's been there. But there's something in that Packers organization where it's like, no, we want to keep this guy. So I think it says a lot for how teams are going about the way that they're doing things. We heard, some of the rumors about the Dolphins, how they're bringing in some of these NFL legends to assess their organization and see where they can improve. Remains to be seen, but if your house is stinking and you bring in a rotten fish head coach and you get rid of that rotten fish, your house is still going to smell. And we'll have to see what they bring in. We'll have to see who they bring in and if they can help clean up that mess and get their organization smelling fresh. But I don't care who the Dolphins bring in. I just don't see it. I don't think they're a stable organization, at least at this point in time.
Yeah, they brought in Troy Aikman to help out with all this. And, yeah.
It was
Troy
Aikman. Yeah, the name escaped me.
Yeah, we shall see what the Dolphins do. I think it's a toss-up of who they're going to hire. And Mike McDaniel, I think, he's another one like Brian Daboll, I think, that will just be a coordinator. And we just mentioned the Eagles, but there's a lot of OC jobs out there with teams that have head coaches, and obviously the 9 openings outside of the Dolphins, so 8 openings, that they're going to get a new head coach and they'll need a coordinator. And I think, Mike McDaniel will get a job, if not as a head coach, definitely as offensive coordinator, because, there's double digits of those that need an OC. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Go ahead and end it with the haymaker.
Yeah, the haymaker.
Let's go ahead and
like this fell in our lap again on the day we're recording. Wow. I mean, just I mean, it's like the John Harbaugh. Obviously, they're so connected. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin stepping down 19 years. He had 1 year on Harbaugh. They have been connected for their whole tenure. Obviously a part of that Steeler-Raven rivalry. They both got a Super Bowl. We thought they would coach their teams forever. And here in the same offseason, even though Tomlin won the battle to get to the playoffs, they both are now looking for jobs. And again, we talked about Harbaugh before. And, of course, now we can add the Steelers and Dolphins to that list. And I joked about that the Steelers would hire Harbaugh. And believe it or not, today the Ravens, they were joking about hiring Tomlin. They found out like at the podium, and it was kind of a joke, and the guy's name is left me, so it was just funny that now the Ravens could be a job for Mike Tomlin. Tomlin and Harbaugh, to me, could get any job they want, any team. I believe they would be stupid not to interview and go after and make the call to get Tomlin, whether they have a coach or not. Just like, as you mentioned, that word about the Jets possibly had called about Harbaugh. I think teams are going to call. They're going to call. These guys, they win. And at the end of the day, you want to win. And I'm not going to stick on Harbaugh here, but yeah, Tomlin obviously never had a losing record. His just run lately is, hey, I make it to the playoffs, but then it fizzles. 7 straight trips, and I think the last 5 they had lost by double digits. They weren't even competitive, so that ultimately ran its course. We don't know behind the scenes what happened with Tomlin and the Steelers. If they mutually agreed, it said he stepped down. He had 1 year left. That's where, the Packers the word is they're going to sign LaFleur. You don't want to be a lame duck coach because normally, there's not another year after that. So, yeah, Tomlin, I think if he wants to work, he can work. And it is shocking, though. It just, the Steelers have only had 3 head coaches, and now they're looking for their 4th. And that's a big one that you just – I don't have any names that come to mind. I heard on McAfee they talked about Mike McCarthy is from Pittsburgh. He's a huge fan. His family's a huge fan. I don't know if that's the guy, but that's an interesting name. It just happened, so no names have come out. But that's a big job, big name. They're going to need a quarterback most likely either way, whoever was coaching that team, and. Yeah, it's kind of a historic day.
Yeah, it is, and I want to make this part clear because I got some takes, and I'm gonna go after some people here in a second. But as of this recording, I don't know whether or not the Steelers had any intention of getting rid of Mike Tomlin. Mm-hmm. Let's keep in mind that this was a gentleman who's quoted as saying, "I have decided to step down as a head coach." I don't know if the intentions were for the team to get rid of him. This could have absolutely been something that was mutually agreed to by the 2 parties. I don't know. But then the president, Art Rooney II, said that he was extremely grateful for all of his hard work, dedication, and success that they shared over the last 19 years. It's hard for me to put into words the level of respect and appreciation I have for Coach Tomlin. That doesn't sound like the words of a gentleman who intended to let him go. So I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to say that it may were taken by surprise, but just at face value right now, we don't know whether or not this was something where Tom was like, you know what, I think I'm finished here. I think I've done all that I could do with this organization. Okay, his resume is bulletproof. Like you said, never had a losing record. The culture that he brings to an organization is impeccable. I just want to draw a very interesting contrast between what happened with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin and what took place originally right after the season ended this year with the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
And how, and I actually said this in one of our last recordings, our last podcast. They got rid of Raheem Morris. They wouldn't even let that dude leave the building after that loss without firing him.
Yeah. Same day.
Sometimes how you do things matters. You can do it if you're going to get rid of somebody, fine. But sometimes the way that it's executed lends to what type of establishment that you have. I don't know anything about Arthur Blank, owner of the Falcons, but it seems like a shitty way to let somebody go, who has bend as competitive as you can be as a coach of the Falcons for all teams. But to see him be let go that way and to see Tomlin have an opportunity to step down with class, with the ownership group showing appreciation for the things that he's brought that team for 2 decades, and giving him a great opportunity as one of the shining examples of being a great coach in the NFL. I just wanted to kind of put those two side by side, and clearly you can make whatever you want of it. And maybe there's more that comes out about the Steelers, but I feel like the Steelers are going to do what they've always done, which is go get a nice quality head coaching candidate for the 4th time since they've existed.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Falcons are going to dig around in the trash bin and bring in some BS coach. You know, maybe he has some success, maybe he doesn't. But I can guarantee you right now, Kent, if you had to bet any amount of money on which franchise was going to have any success over the next decade, bet you ain't picking the Falcons over the Steelers.
No,
and I don't care. And I don't care what coach they get. Hell, they can go get Harbaugh. And if I told you right now, no, I like this game. If I told you that the Falcons bring in Harbaugh, sign him to a 10-year deal, and I say the Steelers hire anybody, who you taking?
Well, I don't want to like completely go against you. So the Falcons' word is they did interview Harbaugh, or they're going to.
I saw that as well.
So good for them. But of course, they also, I believe talked to Belichick the last cycle and still hired Raheem Morris. I don't know if the Falcons, again, they got rid of their GM, but I don't know if that was connected with the Raheem Morris. But like you said, there is a way to do it, not right after his press conference the same day. Like, I don't think Raheem Morris deserved that. Like, there's guys that normally, like it goes down bad and then you fire them the same day. Hell, the Cleveland Browns didn't even fire Stefanski the same day. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah, I will agree there. I will say the Falcons have been to the Super Bowl since, sooner, more recently than the Steelers. Now they blew a 28-3 lead, but they did.
And what happened after that Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, they've done nothing. I know they haven't done anything. I mean, the Steelers at least win.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, flash in the pan here.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not. I could look, and I'm from Georgia, dude.
Yeah.
Like I've never been a Falcons fan. I could dunk on them all day.
Right.
But the analogy I said earlier about your house stinking, and you get rid of that one rotten fish, but your house still smells, that's the Falcons to me. And I can tell you right now, like the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the top 5 of stable sports franchises in America. I'm telling you, they could bring in. I mean, you got to keep in mind, Tomlin was a first-year head coach for them. You can't. Come on, they it's in their culture. They're going to cultivate the relationships and build someone up. That will not happen in Atlanta.
No.
Don't care who the Steelers bring in. I guarantee you they'll have more success than whoever. They can have Harbaugh. Give Harbaugh everything he wants, all the money, all the staff, all the control, which is something else that he allegedly wanted. It was all the control. That's not going to happen in Pittsburgh, and I guarantee you they'll have more success than the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't see Harbaugh going to the Falcons, even though they could give him full control. So, I just don't know about that situation with who knows? If he wants all control, then maybe he does go to Atlanta. And like you said, I agree though. The Steelers, though, they're the more stable franchise. I trust them over Atlanta and their owner Walt Disney. I think that they will. I think they will make a good. I just don't have a name that. Of course, but we didn't know who Tomlin was. So obviously they'll do their interviews. And
I agree with you.
I don't particularly like the McCarthy, but I will say though McCarthy wins. So if they want a veteran coach, then maybe that's good. A hometown guy, he's going to win. Got to get him a quarterback. That's the biggest thing. Those Steelers, they just haven't had a quarterback since Roethlisberger. They've done a terrible job at doing that. Rodgers was actually their best quarterback they've had in recent years, and that's sad that it took a 42-year-old, one of the greats, and he did all that he could do. But again, time caught up with him, and when you get against that young, fast defense, they're going to get after you and retire you real quick if that's the case. But as far as the coaching, again, the Steelers, I'm just really intrigued, interested to see which way they'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say a couple things for that. You just really quick. You mentioned the quarterback situation. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he had a really good year. I was not expecting him to be this good this year, but they've been trying. Who were their quarterbacks last year, dude? They brought in two really good quarterbacks on paper in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. They just didn't work out. They've been trying. And even with that and that mismatch of quarterbacks and who's going to start and who's not, they still ended up going above 500. So, that's what I mean. If it's Mike McCarthy on that sideline, I think you have a level of confidence in him that you haven't had in him forever. Just because he's got that Steelers brand behind him. They know how to build football teams. Yeah. And if there's things that he don't know, they'll teach him. So I think that it'll be a really, really good opportunity for any coach that they bring in. And I mean, it remains to be seen, but maybe they'll make a pick and we'll go, what the hell are they thinking? But I think we trust them to make a good football decision and bring the right people into that organization.
Yeah, I think, again, the biggest question, do they go, again, a young up-and-comer like when they hired Tomlin, or do they go veteran with Mike McCarthy, someone like that, or a John Harbaugh? Who knows, right? They could do the unthinkable, and so could the Ravens, right? So that's interesting. Again, another conversation for another episode is going to be quarterbacks, and the Steelers will be on that list of, they're going to need a quarterback. So that's a big thing for them as well, but that's another conversation. But, yeah, just really shocked that, the day did come where, Tomlin is not a Steeler. And, again, for it to happen the same week as John Harbaugh getting, being out in Baltimore is even more crazy. So, crazier. So, the coaching carousel continues.
And I have a – I do have a hot take. I just want to get it out there on record before somebody else does. Yeah, it's just a hot take. Go. I have no skin in the game. This is just a guess. I could see the Steelers going with another young coach. I could see them bringing in someone from the college ranks. Okay. And I could absolutely see them, and you wouldn't be shocked at all if they made an offer to Notre Dame head football coach Marcus Freeman and asked him to come and be the football coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think you'd be shocked by that.
No, ESPN is saying that he's going to stay despite NFL jobs, but as we know, that could change in a second.
That doesn't mean
anything. We I mean,
doesn't mean anything.
Just go.
It's 2026, man. NIL is alive and
again.
Well.
Go look at Bobby Petrino, Nick Saban, these guys who guys who say they're not leaving but they do, or guys who leave in the middle of the night and write the team a note. You never know. Freeman though seems like obviously he seems like an upstanding guy, and he wouldn't do that, but he could definitely change his mind because again, NFL is the ultimate job for a lot of guys, and that's a. He had been mentioned real quick on Freeman, mentioned about the Giants, but the Steelers is like a whole nother story, man. That is historic. And
somebody offers you that job, you have to take it.
Why would you turn that down? And again, that's another conversation too, like the college, the way it is, obviously how they operate now. It's kind of like, My thing is he's young. I would hate for Notre Dame to lose him as a Notre Dame fan. I like Freeman. I think he's building something great there. And but again, as I say with a lot of these young guys, like, man, if you want to coach in the NFL, go do it. You can always go back to college.
Absolutely. Yeah, nobody's going to stop you, and you get a job in a second.
Yeah, and the Steeler job is, it's that Cowboy, 49er, Packer. It's that,
Mwah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, chef's kiss, man. It's perfect.
the historic franchises that, if they call, you might want to answer that call.
Oh, yeah, you're going to take that call. And if you don't take that call, you better believe your agent will.
Well, he's going to take the call, and then we'll see what happens. So, yeah, that is interesting. I like that. Obviously, again, I don't want to lose him, but that's a really good name that would be, definitely, that's a big name and a good one. All right, so I think that is it. We've covered what we covered. NFL divisional round coming up this weekend, and coaching carousel continues. We're up to 9 openings. I don't think anyone thought we'd get there. But again, that's another episode of Fanatically Speaking. I am Kent, the co-host and promoter.
I'm Log Off legend, hater of social media. I'm the co-host and producer of the show. Yes, another episode of Fanatically Speaking. Follow us on all the socials, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. The podcast is available everywhere you get podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube again. Like, share, subscribe, comment, post everywhere. Pass it along. Share it on all your social media feeds and all that fun stuff. Copy the link and share it with somebody.
Yeah, as always, listen, like, follow, share, download, tell a friend, pass it along, and tap that app.
Tap the app. You tapping apps. Look at you.
Tap that app.
Tap the apps.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. That's all I got. We out.
Yeah. Yep. Good runtime. Yeah, we're good.